Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. How are you doing? Video today on paint depth surveying. So I'm polishing this Porsche 964, this lovely Porsche 964, and I want to get an idea of what's going on with the paintwork. And it is only an idea, okay? Whenever you're doing a paint survey with these paint depth gauges, you are gaining some limited information on the overall depth of the paint system, down to the metal, to the highest point of material, basically. So the first thing, I've taken some readings, but the first thing really I should have done is just taken some readings from a place where it's unlikely to have been painted or buffed as well. So if we go into the car here, you can see this looks like original paint because it's a different colour to what's on the outside. I'm almost certain that's been painted there, but that hasn't. So let's just take some readings of this original paint system. 86 microns, so that looks good. Well, not good, but that looks correct. 92 microns. 76 microns. Okay, just close that. So we've just learned something. We've just learned something about the car, that there's not much paint and clear coat. It looks like it's clear coat and shiny. Well, it's not gloss paint. It's another thing to be aware of. This is a car of that age where it might be using gloss paint, but that to me looks like clear coated paint. That's definitely clear coated paint, I can tell. If you really want to tell, you polish it, and if you're getting colour transfer, then it's probably not clear coated unless it's a little bit of overspray in there, but it's not overspray. That's clear coated. It's very thin clear coat, I think. So we've got around 80 microns of OEM clear. Now, if we have a look at this car, straight away, if ever you want to tell if a car has been repainted, look at the kind of edges. I know this car's been repainted because I've been talking to the owner. So it's had paintwork. I think the whole car has been resprayed at some point, maybe in different stages, who knows. I'm pretty sure because there's signs. So it's always around the edges. You can lift up, pop the bonnet, look underneath. You know, just check the edges really if you want to see, and check for fine surface texture. A respray will always have a little bit more texture in it than the original paintwork, which will look less kind of peely, I think, on a Porsche. Okay, so let's just have a look at some of the readings, guys. So really, 191, 209, 209. Now you could go around and take millions of readings off of this wing, and the more readings you take, the better, but there's a diminishing return for time. Okay, what I can tell is that whole wing has been repainted, so there's no point really in looking around. I might, if the harder I look, I might find a big chunk of filler or something like that, but I'm less interested in that. I'm more interested in doing this to know how much clear coat I've got to play around with. So I'm just taking about 4 readings on the wing. You can see I've just done this little mock-up kind of diagram of the car and the paintwork. Few readings on the bonnet. What I've learnt on the bonnet, we've got a maximum reading of 285 microns and a minimum of 192. So there's a difference of around 100 microns of clear coat thickness. So it's not a consistent level of material on that car over the repainted surface, which again is normal. The closer that is, the better. This is interesting. This wing here, 441 microns, 443, 529. Oh no, it's metal, yeah. 400. Let's just take one here. 454. 540 microns. It's been resprayed multiple times. Like maybe even there. Well, you just never know. It could depend how much material is on there. But that's consistently running about 450. So if you found one patch of 500 microns, that could be a localized repair with a tiny bit of filler, although it'd be more really even with filler. So what I can say is that wing's been painted again, I think, after this section was painted. My paint depth gauge does not read plastic, so it's not going to be able to tell me much on the front bumper. Let's have a look at this doors. That feels plastic. I'll always just try and push gently with this. 543 microns. 639 microns. 464. So we just want to get a rough idea here. So we're talking sort of 450 on the wing through to 550, something like that. And here, what we're talking about, 450 on the door through to, was it about 559, 531. There's a 600 though, wasn't there, somewhere? 566. I'm sure there was a 600. Yeah, 674. So let's just say 450 to 650, something like that. Let's have a look at this rear quarter panel. 375, it's a bit less. 464. 384. 415. 384. So we're talking something like 350 to 450. Let's go and have a look around this back. $180. 193, that's normal. 184, that's normal of a respray. 84, I need to be careful on this rear panel. 144. So the paint levels on this rear section are much more consistent with a car that's had a single respray. The paint levels on this side, it may have been resprayed like 10 years ago and then something happened and this side had more paint work. The paint levels here are more normal. The 84 reading means that I might want to just be a little bit careful when I'm polishing out that back section. So I've learned something there, so let's just make a note of that. Got like 84 through to 180, something like that on that rear section. So that, just need to be careful there. You imagine if I was going in with a heavy cutting compound and I did 2 or 3 sets on a car with a paint with a reading of 84, that's risky. You could find yourself going through or getting to the point where you're close enough that you're going through that you create this patch of thin clear coat. Let's carry on with the readings. 489, 532, 482, 400, or 397. So let's just say 400 to 500 roughly. Okay, and finally this door. 388, 398, 387. It's nice and consistent. It's definitely been repainted. You can see little dust specks along the top there. 413. So around this, that's quite consistent. 380 to 400, or 410, let's say. And I've measured that wing there, which is a bit lower. So what it looks like, guys, let's just take some little readings along this top piece as well. 243, 202, 256. So sort of let's just say 250 there. So I've built up a little picture of the car here, that all around this far side along here, the doors and that wing, are sort of, let's just say 450 microns roughly around that side. That rear tailgate is, what do you call it? Boot. 84 to 180, so less paint there. The rear quarter here is consistent with the other side around sort of 450. This rear door is consistent. And then for some reason, this wing is packing around 200 and the bonnet's packing around 200 as well. Yeah, I don't have to be too careful. So I don't know how much of this is clear coat, but usually if it's painted, it'll have a few layers of clear, so it'll be okay. So for some reason, it could be possible, the fact that most of the car's running at about 460, you know, I was assuming that the rest of this car got sprayed, but it could have been a case that for some reason just the bonnet and this wing were repainted. In fact, my eyes are just spotting there's a slight difference. And I think I might be imagining that. But these might have been resprayed at a later date and they might have just been stripped back to bare metal and repainted. But there's definitely a different level on this and this. What I've learnt, the main reason, or the reason it was good to do the paint depth gauge reading, is I need to be careful on this section. Okay, so whatever I'm doing, I'm probably going to limit it to one set. I'll talk a little bit more about the abrasive that I'm using. I'm going to be using the cleanser polish, like a glaze, although I'm not sure if that's the right thing, but I'm not going to be paint correcting this car for days and days. I've got like one day, and it's a case of the maximum amount of results for the time. And the paintwork is going to look good. It's not a show car. It's like my blue car. It's not a show car. You're never going to get it a show car. This is a 30-year-old car, but we're going to get it looking really nice. And certain bits of this car look amazing, like the wheels and the alloys and stuff. And we're going to make the paint look glossy. We're going to blacken out the top. We're going to clean up the glass. We're going to protect the leather. And even though we can't make it perfect, we can make this car look really, really nice. And it's just a joy to work on them. And it's the sort of car where it's valuable and it's worth just taking 10 minutes. That's all I've spent, 10 minutes, just to learn a little bit more about the paintwork. You know, if you're paying top dollar for a detail on a survey, you might want them to spend an hour and do, you know, lots of readings all over the wing to look for little tiny problems and stuff like that. But for me, 10 minutes is enough, because if I spend hours doing the survey, it's less time doing the polishing. So I've learnt a couple of useful things. Let me know what you think about the whole subject of paint depth gauges and stuff. Very useful. But time is always a consideration, isn't it? So thank you for watching, guys. I am using the CEM DT156. I know a lot of you want me to do loads of reviews on comparing all these sorts of things. For me, I didn't want to spend too much. I just bought it from a detailing distributor. I think, no, I didn't. I got it from Amazon, but from a UK company. I think it was about £90, £100. I wanted a UK company in case there was any problems. The only thing I do with this is I take the batteries out of it. I give it a quick calibration, and it gives me a rough idea. You know, it's a good little tool, actually. Is it worth comparing it with hundreds of other ones? What are you going to learn? You know, one's 0.1 of a unit more accurate than the others. They're all cheap. So I probably won't do any comparisons with other ones, guys. Just let me know in the comments if you think there's a better paint depth gauge than the CEM DT156, and let me know why. Let me know how much it costs. Don't put a link for it in, or it'll automatically get filtered out. But you could say the name of the company that sells it, and then it won't get filtered. So for the time being, I still recommend the CEM DT156 because I've had a good experience of it. All I'm going to do now is take these cheap Chinese batteries out of it so they don't bust open, you know, and leak and ruin the machine. That's the only thing that I do with this machine to keep it going. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you soon. Bye for now.